welcome to the Voyage podcast, where we're going to have like a heart-to-heart talk about, our life journey and experiences and the lessons that we have, and we just want to be able to share it with you guys. And today I have a very, very special guest, Rachel from Bonito, and I'm so glad that she's my first guest because we've worked with each other for so long, and we always have a lot of discussions in the meeting room. So I think
heart-to-heart discussions,
So it will be a good first person to interview, especially when this is my first official interview.
Yes. And I must say that I was a bit cheated because Nicole said it's a podcast. So I didn't know that there's 3 cameras facing me. It's so intimidating. So I wasn't prepared. I thought that I can take my time and don't have to worry about my expressions, but okay. So she said it's a video podcast.
No, Ken said
it's a video podcast. Okay.
So, yeah, we just want to thank you for taking your time really
Pleasure.
to sit down and share with us. So we actually made an announcement for people to send in their questions on Instagram, and so we will be incorporating the questions into this interview.
Okay.
And but there will be some fun questions right at the end where
is it?
say show me your workout routine.
No, they didn't say that.
They did. Okay, so Rachel, you've been doing Love Bonito for 9
years.
9 years, right?
Yeah.
So can you maybe just share with us a short description of your journey and where you guys are at now?
So as you all know, Love Bonito, before that it was known as Bonito Chico, and we were selling on the live journal platform. So, Val, together with myself and Viola, we decided to come together very innocently from the beginning. We just wanted to sell our pre-loved clothes for extra pocket money. So back then, I always tell people, Love Bonito, this journey for me really started as a hobby, and it turned to a business where it's lovebonito.com, and it turned into a community. So it's from a hobby, a business, into a community. And so throughout the whole journey, of course, things changed from being a hobby, then things got serious. There are things that you have to learn and equip yourself along the way. And I would say more or less it's been a really interesting journey, a lot of ups and downs. I learned so much, and I know we have a long way more to go. So right now, Love Bonito is at a stage where we are truly discovering our purpose in the world, and the purpose that the intention God has for us, and for the women out there.
Okay, so 9 years is a really long time.
9 years is a really long time.
Do you remember the moment where you had to move from because before that you were
I was a student in NTU studying to be a teacher.
So you remember the moment where you had to make the decision to go into Love Bonito full time?
Yes. I'll never forget that moment. That was my final year in NIE, and there came to a point where I really couldn't juggle work and school anymore, because they always say you cannot serve 2 masters, so to speak. One will always suffer. So I realized that even in school, I kept thinking about my work, and all I did was reply emails and ensure that the packages were sent out. So that was clouding my mind throughout, and my studies of course suffered, and I didn't feel good that when I'm taking my exams, my heart is not there and things like that. So I decided that I really have to stop school, come out and pay off my bond, a huge sum that I had to borrow money from my parents from, and to pursue the business. So my parents, we come from a humble family, that my dad is a taxi driver and my mom is a secretary in an office. So to them, that amount was huge, and for them to really take that leap of faith with me really meant a lot to me, especially back then, 8 years ago, when online shopping was unheard of. My parents themselves, they were as unsure as I was. They were afraid that, are you sure you're not doing an illegal business? Are you sure this is legal? Will the government come after you because people are transferring money to your account and you're selling things? So for me, I think that the one thought that drove me to take that leap of faith was in knowing that I was still young then, and if anything were to happen to my business, I can always go back to finishing my studies. But if I don't take that leap of faith, or if I wait 1-2 years, I will forever regret and wonder, what if I had done it? What if I did? And I don't want to live in what if. So I think I was thankful that I was still young and I was able to take that leap of faith. So with the assurance of no one else but no one else. No one else. Oh my god, looking back, no one else assured me. My parents, they were not even fully supportive, but they just decided that since I wanted it so much, if they love me, they will want to do it. But actually, no one else, with the assurance of no one else, I decided that I had to do it.
Did people voice out their doubts to you?
Yes, like, because my parents, they were so concerned, so they spoke to my uncles and my aunties, and so they came over and they're like, hey Rachel, I heard that you want to do a business, get your degree first or get a certificate so that if anything happens, you can fall back on it. So there were a lot of voices like that. But I think also one benefit was I was young and I was very willful and very stubborn and determined to know that, this is what I want and this is what I can do. Yeah. So of course I was also very unsure. I was quite doubtful. But I have to put out a brave front. If not, my parents will not. They will not.
How do you respond to people when they say, oh, you should, what?
Just listen. I think there's no point in me like trying to argue with them or trying to convince them. I just hope that, back then I just hoped that, time will tell that this will be worth it. Yeah. So
it's very funny. My parents did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Go talk to my auntie.
Yeah, I know, right? Then they will come to you and try to like.
Oh, you should get a job first.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about how glad you were that you were at a young age. Do you think there's an advantage of starting a business at a young age?
Well, it was an advantage of starting my business at a young age because it was something that is kind of like a new generation driven. It's something that, like, okay, if you ask me to start a shipping company at a young age, then maybe not, because I need the experience, I need the know-hows, and I still need the know-hows, but I need the contacts and all that. But I feel that, starting this online business at a young age was really good for me because I could reach out to my fellow peers and other women of our same generation and that are like-minded to purchase from us and to to support the business. So I think that really helped. Yeah.
So like you mentioned, Singaporeans are generally quite risk averse, and I think like one thing that a lot of parents fear is that one day their child will come back and say, oh, I want to start a new business, and they'll be like, dun, dun,
or like
dun.
Exactly, like just because all my friends are also starting their own businesses and no one is working for someone else, and I want to be a part of that. So that can be very dangerous.
Dangerous for?
Dangerous because they want to do it just because their friends are doing it, not because they truly feel strongly or about idea.
What are some considerations you think someone should have if they want to do, or they want to have a business of their own or become an entrepreneur?
I think looking back, what I've learned along the way is that you really have to, well, as cliche as it sounds, you really have to be passionate about at least the industry that you're going into. Like, for example, if you were to ask me to start a business just because there is a gap in the market for gaming or gamers, well, I'm not confident about it and I'm not passionate about it. Neither will I spend every day of my life trying to learn more about it. So I think it's something that it has to interest you to begin with. So like for us, it's fashion. Shopping. I understand what goes through a woman's mind when they shop. And so that's why from there I can, build my business to target the audience. So I think you really need to be passionate about the industry or at least the business that you're going into.
A lot of people may think that they want to become entrepreneurs, but what is the key question that you should ask yourself, whether or not this is a kind of path, a career path that you want to go down?
I think that you should obviously have spoken to quite a few people you trust in your life about it, and of course identify gaps in the market to see if there is a need for such a business that you're coming up with, and to see how you can really provide value for the business that you're coming up with. Chances are, right, that the business that you're coming up with, someone has already come up with it or something similar. So how is it that you can bring about something that is different? Or, so if there is a certain business that is similar, like yours, similar model, similar purpose and goals, then how is it that you can be different and differentiate yourself from it, that you will stand out? If not, you two are just fighting for the same pie. And I feel that it's very important to get right partners with you on board with it, because there is only so much you can do and you really shouldn't try and do everything on your own. So I think for a good start, at least you will need the right partners or at least the right people with you on board.
I think that, like what you said before about being need driven, I think that that's quite a key point. Like a lot of people just want to, maybe they just want to do their own thing, or they just want to make a lot of money. Although you know that when you start off as an entrepreneur, there's always this startup phase where you are actually not a millionaire.
Yeah, I always tell people, especially young entrepreneurs, that if it's really for the money, there are many other ways, easier ways to earn the money.
Exactly.
This is honestly, right, it's such a, it's a very, very tough and long and winding journey. That at the end of it, you might see the money, you might not see the money, but that shouldn't be your goal, because if that is what's going to keep you going, that's your drive, then you're going to be sorely disappointed, because it's going to be very hard. And at least for the first few years, I don't think you're going to at least see.
Exactly. So I think, like, for example, when Love Bonito was, you guys started off as a hobby, and then you realized that there was a need, and then
that there was a demand, and you wanted to meet the
and then it keeps going on, and there was a momentum to that. So I think that is a key thing. Actually, you don't try to go in for the wrong reasons when there's no need for you, or when there's you're just trying to chase money.
So in a sense, Love Bonito is very privileged, because we could see the growing demand, and then we realized that we need to scale to meet it. But at this day and age, coming up with your own business, it's very different. Nobody's going to tell you that, hey, actually I need this, can you invent this? You're going to have to sift with your own eyes and see for yourself the gaps and come up with something that can meet. So it's very different league now.
It's very different. So talking about back then when you guys first started, right? How did you kind of generate? It was kind of self-generated, right? There was a demand for
in terms of how the word spread about the brand.
Spread about the brand, and how did you guys like kind of differentiate yourself with the other few online shops that were currently existing? And then how does it differ from now? Which obviously, right?
So there's 3 questions here. Going for your 4. For me, I think back then when we started, like I say, we are very blessed and privileged that we had the first movers advantage. So I would say that being a pioneer in the online scene in Singapore was good for us, because when people think of online shopping back then, they thought of Bonito Chico, they thought of Love Bonito. So the word spread where, their girlfriends will share like, I bought a dress online, Bonito Chico, things like that, where they will get really excited that firstly, it's value for money, quality is good, and we are trustworthy. So I think especially back then, being trustworthy was very important, because people were still wary, shopping online, buying online, like, hey, is it real? Are they crooks? Or will I really get it? How long does it take for me to get it? Because imagine, it's like transferring your money to someone else and waiting 4 or 5 days for a package to arrive or not. That's really, scary back then. But right now it's the norm. But you must imagine back then it was really something. So I think for us, being trustworthy and delivering on our promises was really important for us. So after having set the foundation, I think that was how word spread very quickly about us. And also moving forward, for Love Bonito now, how is it that we set ourselves apart from the rest of the competition? I think from the onset of the business, since the very early days, Love Bonito has really prided ourselves in being authentic to our customers, in being real to our customers. It's something that, since Bonito Chico days, you always hear that, the thing I like about Bonito Chico is that they are real. The owners answer the emails, the owners pay attention to my questions, my queries. But of course, moving forward, since the owners are not able to do that anymore as the business scales, that's why we impart and make sure that service is still a core value of the business that we want to provide to our customers. So I think there are many things that we can do. We can design nice clothes. We can provide great value for money. But these are also things that the competition can provide. So how is it that we really set ourselves apart? I think it's really about having a genuine relationship with our customers, paying attention to their needs. So I think this is something that we pride ourselves in.
Okay, so moving on, Love Bonito Chico became Love Bonito, and you guys started to kind of firm up an idea, because you guys started also organically, right? And then now you are starting to kind of be more defined about who you guys are. Maybe you want to share with us about the change in your mission or your tagline. You know, before that it was called sharing the love of fashion, and now it's about empowering women through style, empowering confidence through style.
I think for us, right, as the business grew, like I said, it became a challenge to really find out our calling and stay true to it. So like I said from the beginning, it was a hobby and then it became a business. So everything was like fun and like, yeah, okay, we run a business, okay, let's try and learn and know how and find out about the know-hows and then just get into it. Hire accountants, hire the right people to help you with it. But I think as the business grew, and I came to a point in my journey with Love Bonito, and I think it was just last year, where I would say emotionally, I kind of hit rock bottom. I was so drained from running the business. It's always like every day go in, okay, fighting fire, you have sales target, you have marketing targets, you have so many targets to meet. And there came to a point in my life last year where I realized that I'm actually really so tired from doing this, and what am I toiling for? What am I doing all this for? So there was a period where I was really down, and the only thing that kept me moving was when I went into office, I saw my staff and I saw the pixies, and I realized that, okay, I can't give up and I have to go on because they depend on us for their rice bowl. They depend on us, And so it really made me dig deep and really wonder and really ask God, what's the purpose of Love Bonito? What is the purpose that you have for Love Bonito that we can fulfill? So I started to really wonder and think and become very intentional about things. So I started to pay close attention to things like customer feedback, what we are to them, what are they thankful to us for. So as you know, we always have warehouse sale once every year. So there'll be always a few customers who will come up to Viola and myself and say, thank you so much for Love Bonito, thank you for, we're so happy. And then I would really just ask them, what exactly are you thankful for? Yeah, because when I used to listen to it, I was like, oh, you're welcome, yeah, I'm happy you're happy. But then it came to a point where I really wanted to know, genuinely, what are you thankful for? So I asked them, okay, so really what are you thankful for? And they will say things like, no, thank you for the confidence that I need when I go into an interview. Thank you for making me feel a little bit prettier when I go on a date. And things like that. So I started to wonder and started to slowly see what Love Bonito is to women. Yeah, and I think the final straw came to me when there was a customer. She wrote into me and she said, can I perhaps come down and share with you how Love Bonito has made a difference in my life? So I'm like, okay, sure, so I invited her down. And when she came to office one day, I never expected, that she's a bright young girl, about 24, 25 years old. Well, she obviously went through a major surgery because she was just recovering, and she had shaved off her head and her hair was growing out, and could see visibly that the left side of her body wasn't as mobile as the right. So she sat me down and she told me very slowly that she's been a customer of Love Bonito all these years, and recently she has had a major health issue and had to go through many surgeries. And she said during her whole recovery period, for women, when you are gone sick and when you have to shave your head, you really feel so lousy and ugly. You don't even want to meet or see anyone. So she said, but every day throughout her recovery, when she had to go out and life goes on for her, for doctor's appointment, back to work, she said every day she chooses to put on a piece of Love Bonito clothing, just because it makes her feel a little bit better about herself when she looks in the mirror, just because it gives her that little bit of confidence to walk out and to face the world. Yeah, and when I heard it, I was almost in tears. I was like, wow, actually there really is so much that God has in store for Love Bonito. And moving forward, so when I see our customers, when I see the women that Love Bonito has impacted, literally their lives that we can touch. Yeah, they're not just like numbers, okay, your customer number 800, customer number 801. You're literally precious lives that we want to make a difference in. Yeah, so that's why Love Bonito became, from sharing the love of fashion, we became empowering confidence through style. And we believe that slowly through that, when you look good, you feel good, you put on that armor, then we can go on to penetrate, like other issues in life, like self-belief, self-worth, embracing ourselves, and things that are Love Bonito's values. Yeah.
I think as the company expands,
Yeah.
how do you build
The culture,
a team, a culture such that they feel empowered, they feel confident?
Okay. Yeah, I think as when I discovered Love Bonito's purpose and I saw who the customers are to the brand, I started to see who the staff, the pixies that work with us, who they are to, us and the brand. And I started to see that actually, to be honest, we are really blessed to have really such young, dynamic, talented women and men, Wang Yun and Wayne, to be working with us. And for me, it's really about helping them discover themselves, helping them see their strengths, their weaknesses, giving them a platform to be able to grow, to learn, to make mistakes, to empower them to make decisions. And I promise myself that I will not kill them if their decisions cost money or cost, but I will it's really a lot of grace and restraint to be able to help them. I think for me, I really discovered that Love Bonito is a platform where we can give, Violet and I can give the pixies to be able to help them to grow to be the best version of themselves. They don't have to stay for the rest of their lives, but at least I truly believe that this might be a turning point in their lives where they really discover themselves, that they really see who they are, what they're meant to do, and find confidence in that. Yeah, that's why in the culture that we built in Love Bonito, I realized that it's essential that we as leaders are authentic and real to the staff. And this only comes when, I think as leaders, we are real to them, letting them know that I'm also on this learning journey with you. I'm learning and growing with you. We learn with each other. When we make mistakes, we help one another. And I'm not greater than thou. I'm not better than thou. I just have a vision for Love Bonito, and this is the platform that we're going to build to help one another. Okay, it's as important to form genuine, real relationships with my staff as it is to form genuine, real relationships with the customers. Yeah, I truly believe that once taking care of my staff is done, then they will be able to take care of my customers. So it's really about going down and serving the staff, helping them, and growing together as a company. That's why I think there's something really special about the culture of Love Bonito.
Okay. Yeah, so just now you talked about, being burnt out and being very down. How do you, what are some practical tips that you can give on how to get out of burnout? Or I used to burn out.
Okay, no, even if I am, better say I'm not. No, but I think it really depends on the individual. I think what most entrepreneurs go through is that there's a lot of voices in their heads. I don't know if you get that.
Yeah.
That there are always voices telling you to do this and do that, or don't do this and don't do that, or give up or don't give up, and things like that. So I feel that what I've learned is to really shut out the voices in my head and focus on the greater purpose. I think throughout the years, what I've really learned and what has really helped me is in discovering and knowing my purpose and my calling, and Love Bonito's purpose and calling. And that's why it keeps me really focused on the end goal, in knowing that this is what I'm called to do and this is what we are called to do. And I would really love to fulfill that. And I know that with God, I can do it. So it's really a lot about discovering and knowing your purpose and calling. And of course, there's 2 times when I'm down, but I realize that I get to snap out of it easier because I just choose to focus on what the end goal is and what I have to do. And along the way, I think God really sends angels to really encourage you, to really just give you that nudge and to pick you up and to just go from there. So I think if there's anything, it's really a lot of mental strength that you have to build, to really out-talk the voices in your head or to just shut them out.
Some people have been asking, how do you manage your schedule every day? That's what they want to know. And how many hours of sleep do you need?
I need about at least 7 hours of sleep. That's why I sleep earlier than most. How do I manage my schedule? Nicole, how do you manage your schedule?
I would say that there are always many things to do if you don't watch your calendar. But that's why having a very clear goal of what you want to achieve helps you
short term,
say,
long term.
yes or no. So
like what's important, what's urgent.
Okay. So if like this year I'm very clear of what kind of things or projects I want to achieve, and if these things do not fall into that spectrum, then I would have to say no.
There you have it. I learned a lot from Nicole as well. So I think for me, it's about pacing myself. And like what you say, one thing I learned is like, there are things that are urgent but not necessarily important. So, that maybe you can delegate or things like that. There's only so much time in your hands. So, I think it's really about knowing and focusing on the goals that you have, short term and long term.
So speaking about goals,
are
you ready? What are some of your, maybe we talk about like this year
okay, this year.
Well, as in like maybe 2016.
Okay, 2016.
Okay, what are some of your career goals for 2016?
Career goals. I think generically speaking, if there's such a word, it's really to bring Love Bonito to its fullest potential, and then we'll start by reaching out to women in Asia, to as many countries as possible. And for me, also building a strong foundation in Love Bonito, and then that comes by working closely with the people that we've been blessed to work with. So I feel that for me, I think this is kind of like a personal and career goal, because they're very intertwined, like your personal and your work. So I feel for me, at least for the next year at least, is to really be able to work closely and bring out the best of the people that I'm working with, to help them see the direction and hopefully that they're meant to go in, and give them a platform to shine, like I mentioned. So I think that's for me, it's something that I'm learning, to be able to identify and to be able to see and sift out somebody's abilities and make them more confident in those areas. Am I making sense? So that for me is a personal and career goal. Like, as I learn and discover about myself, and as I learn and discover that actually when I work within my strength zone, and as I continue to do that, I become more confident, and I also become better at what I do. So that's what I want to help identify with at least the core team in Love Bonito, and help them be able to help the rest of their team. So I think together they will really form very strong organization.
Alright, let's move on to let's talk about relationships. Now you know that in this modern society, women, we totally face a very different kind of playing field of balancing career and our marriages and relationships and potential motherhood. There is no handbook. Right? So let's talk first about what do you see yourself in the future? How are you going to, are you planning to be a mother?
Yes.
And how do you plan to to manage career and being a mother? And time for yourself?
I mean, usually when I speak with like successful career women who are also mothers at the same time, I really, really respect them. And I think one thing that I've learned is that I would say that you can be successful in both areas, your work and your family. You just need a great team behind you. So that's one conclusion I've had. A great team at work, to help and support what you do, and at the same time a great team at home. When you go to work, you can rest assured that, be it a great helper or a great mother-in-law or whoever, to help take care of your child, and you don't have to worry. So it really depends on your goal. Like some parents, some mothers I know, they would love to be there at every aspect of their child's growth every day. So then I think with that you have to work around. But I think for me, I would still prefer to work in the day and come home at night. So I think it's really important to have a great team both at work and both at home. So I have to pray for good health.
In terms of managing your relationships, how do you do that, especially when you're so busy with work, right, and you're traveling so often?
I think, right, managing relationships, unlike you, Nicole, because I am a natural people person. So yeah, as in I get my fuel, I get my energy, and I refuel from interacting and talking to people. In fact, that's what I have to do every day to keep myself going. Yeah, so I think it comes naturally for me, where I will naturally turn to people. I'm sure you know, and I'll naturally go and be around people and enjoy conversations with them, because that keeps me going. So I think naturally that helps also to build my relationships with people. I know for some people, like you, maybe Nicole, like you have to specifically, intentionally set aside time, right, for relationships with people, to catch up with them. But for me, it's something I really enjoy doing, and it's such a part of my life where I cannot do without.
So there we go. If you're an extrovert like Rachel, embrace it. It's like so much easier, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then also a lot of your followers who have been following you on your whole life journey, they also know that you came out from a past relationship, and there are a lot of people out there who are going through the same situation. What so-called advice or kind of a message or encouragement do you want to give to them, so that first maybe you can share with us how it was for you.
I think if there's one thing, is to know that you're not alone, that it's important that you speak with people and support that you trust, and don't ever let like a bad relationship or what you're going through take away your sense of self-worth or your sense of value. For me, one thing I've learned is that your bad relationships, or relationships that don't go well or that didn't work out, doesn't define you. And so it's really about knowing how to separate that. I think for a long time, especially when you're in it, going through and healing, it's very hard to take it as two separate things. But I think I've really learned, and I think it's important that both parties heal. So for me, my faith really helped me a lot, because in knowing and being assured in God's love for me, that really helped me throughout the whole period that I was recovering. So I think it's really know that you're not alone.
Okay, so before
games?
No. Not yet. But before we wrap up and go into the fun questions, right? So there are people who maybe they just wrapping up their studies and they're going into the working world, and there's so much aspirations, but they still have such a long journey ahead of them, right? So they want to know, what advice can you give to them?
I think you start with yourself. If there's one thing I wish I had known earlier, is I wish that I had discovered myself and my strengths and my weaknesses, my interests and my passions earlier. And that I realized can be done intentionally. When you perhaps when you hang out in a group, there are some things that you'll notice about yourself. I realized that I genuinely enjoy conversations with people. I realized that I get my energy from people. So all these things are things that you start to notice about yourself, and keep them in your heart, because I think it's important down the road you know who you are and what kind of person you are, so that what kind of business or be it what aspect of the business you can do. So I think it's really about trying a lot of new things, being adventurous. The great thing about you guys now is that you are still young. So it's okay, just be daring, just try. I think life is short, and you're at the perfect age right now to experiment, to try. I think it's really a great time to be in for these people. What do you think, Nicole? What's one thing you would...
definitely, trying to find out who you are and listening to yourself. I think don't be overwhelmed by wanting to know your whole life ahead of you.
It unveils slowly.
And that is the fun part of it. You will enjoy the process. So just don't.
I completely agree.
Cool. Alright, so now to the fun questions.
Yes.
Someone asked, okay, I won't say someone, no. Judy asked, hello Rach. Okay, you share a lot of things that you do on social media about the kind of food you eat and what are the things that you do. But what is one of your ultimate guilty pleasure other than keeping fit, dressing up and reading? What is one hobby that you may not have shared with us before?
I enjoy doing hobby.
The polling games, that's one.
Everyone in Bonito can attest to that. maybe I think behind the social media, people can't tell how much I really enjoy being around people, talking to people. Yeah, I mean, not only do I learn things about them and intrigues me, I learn stuff about myself also when I talk to people. And that's really, enjoyable for me.
Alright, someone asked, how really envy how you maintain lean and fit all these years. Makes you look so good in everything you wear. Would like to know your fitness regime and hope you can share what you do daily to keep strong and fit. Catherine.
I think it's really about okay, because I came from a very sporty background. I played netball since I was primary 2, and I don't think I have actually really stopped exercising. Except I did slow down for a part of my life, but I think naturally I am quite a physically active person, so that really helps me. And along the way, more than just exercising to maintain a figure or something, I realized that to me along the way, especially now, exercising to me is a form of stress release. Like I get when I go for like runs or jogs, it really like clears my mind, helps me think about things. And what I usually do is like listen to sermons when I so it really helps me. And it's like time away from your phone, time away from your emails, time away from social media that you're plugged in. And that is a form of discipline for me also. So exercising for me now is really more a form of discipline and plugging into my thoughts and reflections. Yeah. So what I do is like I usually try to exercise at least 3 times a week, a mixture of like cardio or like some like workouts, circuit training. Yeah, so that's usually what I do.
That's cool. Yeah, I think definitely you should find source of enjoyment for your personal self that makes exercise fun. If not, you're just doing it just to waste, like to what you call that? To lose weight. Oh yeah, to lose weight. Yeah. Last question. If you can describe your year, no, if you can give a word for your year, that question.
Yeah, that question.
What would it be?
If I could, Nicole, you also better think. Okay? yeah. If I could give a word for my year, wow. Okay, there's a lot of things, but I think the overarching theme is I cannot find a word, but maybe after I describe. Okay, I think for me, it's really about staying true to yourself and your calling. This has been something that over the past year in 2015, I've been on this self-discovery journey about discovering who I am, who God has made me to be, my gifts, my abilities, my talents, accepting myself for who I am, and using my strengths to empower others. So along the way, of course, there are a lot of like voices and noises where like you always encourage me and tell me that society glamorizes a certain kind of leaders, and I might not necessarily be that, but it doesn't mean that I'm any lesser. So I think it's things like that that keep me going, that helps shut out the noise outside, that helps me stay focused on my calling. Yeah. So I think the word for the year is, can't find a word, but if there's a phrase, is really it's like almost like bloom where you're planted. Yeah, to stay true and to just walk my course. Yeah.
Okay, mine is play. Because this year is kind of like a year of Sabbath, even though I'm working to earn money.
Yeah.
But it's also like allowing myself to kind of explore the things that I really want to do that maybe don't have a financial benefit right away or anything like that.
Yeah.
So like, like doing this kind of podcast or like doing workshops that help people to discover themselves. Yeah, all these things is something that I really, really want to do, and I think sometimes in our adult life we don't give ourselves enough time to play.
Yes, because we are so stressed by the bills that we have to pay, the stress from the parents that you don't have a stable income or things like that.
And you don't want to waste time, or you want to make sure everything has an ROI to it.
Oh yes.
So that for me this year, that's what it is.
So what gives you the courage to pursue that?
Wow,
it's quite courageous, like it's like being at this stage of your life where you're married, you're stable, and perhaps people are looking at, okay, what's next for you, be it in terms of career or family, children, I'm sure you get that. But yeah, what gives you the courage to be able to
I think
experiment?
I have seen a few people taking sabbaticals, and they talk about how beneficial it has been for them in terms of creativity and kind of like refreshing your inspiration and all sorts of things. And also, I believe that in the Bible, biblically, there is God encourages us to take our Sabbath, and that is also something that He does after He created 6 days. He looked back and enjoyed His work. So I think based on that gives me this kind of confidence that it will work out. It will be beneficial, and I also just try to keep my expenses at a bare minimum so that I have the financial freedom to kind of pursue it.
That's great.
Yeah. Of course, when I have kids, I don't know lah. I have to, earn more money.
But hopefully by then you have
hopefully by then it's kind of stable.
Footing. That's great.
That's all for today's podcast session. Yay! I hope you enjoy it. If you got any questions, you can send it down below, and we'll try to follow up. Okay, and if you really enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and head over to lovebonito.com to check out the awesome clothes there. See ya! Bye!